Hey, good afternoon. This is Jake and Lexi Wyer here at Blue Coast Realty in Wilmington, North Carolina. And we thought we'd just take kind of a quick moment to talk with you guys because we get it a lot from our clients about what are the pros and cons of living here. And when we moved here, we did a lot of online research to try to figure out if this was the place that we wanted to live. And we did that with a lot of places. And we kind of found that there's just a lack of content out there and a lot of lack of transparency and truth as far as what's negative about an area and what's positive about an area. I think I've said it multiple times in my other videos that, you know, there's good and there's bad about everywhere.
If you're thinking about making a big move like that, you want to know everything. So we're here to talk about it all with you. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have if we don't answer them in this video. But we're going to just talk about it all. That's a big decision to make. So you should talk to as many people as you can and find out as much about the area as you can.
So we're just going to jump right into it. I mean, one of the biggest things is we're sitting here on March 1st and we're sitting outside in t-shirts and short sleeves and the weather's beautiful. It's about 70 degrees, slightly overcast, but the weather is amazing and it's a beach town. It's a destination beach town. So that was kind of a big draw for us. When we first came and visited, we went straight to the beach. And really this town focuses a lot around the beach and water activities. And so that was a huge thing for us, is to have that kind of opportunity because we're coming from San Diego and we had that there. So that was a huge draw for us.
And there's also a lot to do downtown and other areas as well. So you do have a little bit of diversity with that. Downtown's great. There's a lot of breweries. There's a lot of bars and fun things to go do. There's a ton of parks to take your kids to. There's really everything you need here. It's just on a very much smaller scale, really, but
than what we're used to.
So
that's the other thing.
relative.
It's all very relative about where you're coming from. So some people that are moving from smaller areas to Wilmington see Wilmington as kind of a big metropolitan area. Moving from San Diego here, it seemed smaller to us. So a lot of this is relative too. So I think that kind of hits on the fact that there was some diversity here that we liked too. There's a historic downtown that's beautiful, tons of charm, lots of activities to do, and then you also have the coastal part of it, which it feels like completely two different areas. So you can kind of enjoy like kind of a metropolitan feel, and then you can go 20 minutes away to the beach and kind of live up the coastal life, which is something that was big to us, I think.
When we first came to town, we spent the weekend in Carolina Beach, and it was amazing. You can drive your truck out on the beach, you can pitch a tent for the day. We were definitely not used to that in San Diego. So
Right.
It's very relaxed, very easygoing. The mentality here is very laid back. It's kind of refreshing coming from a bigger city. And there is something to be said for that southern charm too. Everybody is so nice. We couldn't believe it.
And the other thing I think that came up a lot was we were shocked about how clean and pristine the city was and how easy it was to get out to undeveloped natural areas still. Coming from San Diego, that area is just so congested. That was one of the reasons that we left California, there was just too many people to enjoy it anymore. So I think coming here, it was a huge difference for us.
It was definitely a big difference. One thing we do hear people talk about here a lot is the traffic, which we think is kind of funny coming from San Diego, but I mean, there are areas that do get very congested, and there is plans to open up the infrastructure. But as far as I know, they haven't started any of that.
They're working on some projects,
so.
But I mean, they're playing catch up right now. It's definitely it's urbanizing. This area is growing pretty quickly. If you talk to anyone who's from here, they'll tell you first thing that this area is growing faster than they've ever seen. And in real estate, I can tell you that they're building all over the place, and people are moving here with a quickness. So the city's playing catch up right now, I think, with the traffic problems. But relatively speaking, the traffic's pretty minor. It's on some of the major corridors, and it's really just business hour traffic, I think.
It is just on your way home from work to work every day. So
you'll have to sit through a stoplight maybe twice on some spots. So as far as traffic is concerned,
we think the traffic's great.
It's very relative in that sense. But and I guess some of the negatives. So we'll go into the negatives. So obviously it's a great beach town. It's centrally located on the coast, so you're close to a lot of the metropolitan areas. There's an international airport, all good stuff. It's a college town, so we love all that stuff. it took us a little longer to figure out the negative parts, and I think we had to move here and kind of experience the area before we kind of really fully understood the negative pieces of it, I guess. Would you probably agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you move to a new area, it does take a while to figure out what you like and what you don't like, what you would maybe change, you know, if you lived in a different part of town, or it does take a while, I feel like, to get your feet on the ground and get to know people, find your community, find your people where you're comfortable. When we had moved here, I was pregnant with our daughter, and so, you know, we wish that we would have kind of gone out and done more things, but we just weren't able to at first, having a new baby. But
well, that brings us actually right to the first negative thing I think that we figured out. We are parents, and so one of the things that we were really shocked by was the disparity between the school districts in the North Carolina and Wilmington areas. There's some very good school districts, and then there's the other side of it. There's just some horrendous, very, very poorly rated school districts here as well. So as a parent, you need to be very aware of that. A lot of people do choose to use private school here, or they choose to buy and live in areas that are in those specific.
That is the number one thing I would say. If you're a parent, you need to consider. Like Jake said, there are a lot of private schools available, but that's not in everybody's budget. You know, that's not something that is for everybody. So if you have any more questions about that, we can point you in the right directions, which school districts are which ones to avoid and stay away from.
Yeah.
So that's a biggie, though, definitely.
I think one of the other things that we found out is, and get a lot of questions about this too, is people hear about the crime rate here in Wilmington. Now, it is a port city, and that does have a little bit to do with some of the I guess the crime volume in the downtown area specifically. There are some areas that you're not going to want to live in that do have, I would say, a pretty high crime rate, I guess, in the downtown area.
But again, that is a relative term. We lived near downtown San Diego. We never had any issues there. We actually live downtown Wilmington right now, and we haven't had any issues there either. So, I mean, you do see these numbers, and I mean, it is all relative. There are negative areas everywhere. There are certain areas you would want to avoid in any city. So that, I mean,
and I think
don't
that's what it comes down
you.
to. And I think that's where it comes down to also, is that it's a growing city. It's not a little town anymore. It's a growing city. And I think a lot of those comments come from people that are used to it to being a small, sleepy little beach town. And I think it's kind of, Wilmington's graduated from not being a small little beach town anymore. It's going to have all the real problems of a growing metropolitan area. So again, I think that they do a really good job here with the police presence and taking care of those kind of issues. Like I said, we haven't had any personal issues with it, but something to be aware of. So I guess some of the negatives would just be the traffic. Be aware of the school districts. There are some really good ones, some really bad ones. The crime, there are some areas that you're not going to want to set up shop and have your family at, but the majority of the area, I think, is really good.
And again, feel free to reach out or comment. We're happy to answer any personal questions that you have and kind of point you in the right direction if you do have some specific areas you're looking at, or you just want to be kind of pointed in the right direction. So
anyways, we hope that's helpful. We kind of wish a video like this was in existence when we were trying to research the area. Like Lexi said, reach out to us if you have any questions, you have any comments about anything, you have any specific questions that you want answered, and we'd love to help you out. And if you are looking to move into the Wilmington area, set up some time with us. We'd love to show you around, show you the great neighborhoods, the reasons why we moved here. And thank you so much for tuning in.